I truly don't know how to start this video off. One, I will just come out with it. I am pregnant. Super excited about that. So I'm basically going to be telling the story basically of how we found out that we were pregnant, and kind of telling some of our family members, because I really didn't think we were going to get pregnant when we did, just because we were having some issues. So I'm going to be looking down at my phone because I saved all my notes in there. But I am currently 15 weeks pregnant. Yeah. The brain is gone. But let me tell you about all of this. So I also have like a huge bag of pregnancy tests. So obviously these are old pregnancy tests because the digital ones don't say pregnant anymore, sadly. But I will insert some pictures when I am talking about them. So Patrick and I started trying, I want to say, we had a really big family thing happen in September, and we basically kind of sat down and we're like, no time like the present. So we started trying after that. I had been tracking my cycles at this point because I just kind of fell off. I had been off birth control since we got married in 2018. So just things fell off and stuff like that. So had gone to the doctors back then and was basically just told to go ahead and start tracking my cycle and taking ovulation strips and stuff like that. So bought those, started tracking. Some months I would ovulate, some months I wouldn't. So that was a little concerning. So after the big incident that happened in September, Patrick and I were just like, you know what, let's really 100% try. So condoms were given to other people, and we were fully devoted to it. By December, given September to December wasn't a lot, but I had ovulated every month. And I was a little bit discouraged. The doctor said, here's some over-the-counter things that you can try, some herbal remedy things, if you want to give that a go. And I was like, okay, I can try. And come my birthday and Christmas in December, both Patrick and I were a little bit kind of worn out at that point. Given, I know as a nurse, like a full year is when you need to start going and having help and stuff like that. But since we've been tracking, my ovulation and stuff like that, and, we were kind of being careful, but kind of not being careful. So, we were just kind of like, I really don't know what's going to happen. So, the day that I took my pregnancy test, besides a few days before, this is back in February, by the way, so it has been a long span of time now. My boobs hurt. I am kind of complaining about that at work. I had a whole different job change. So now I don't work at a nursing home. I work at a college and I'm teaching nursing. So that was going on. So there was a lot of big changes happening. So I was like, maybe it's just my body being like super stressed out and everything like that. So I was on the phone with my mom. They were, I think she was at school and I was FaceTiming her. Patrick had just left. And my mom was like, just take a test. And I'll post that picture somewhere around here. And it was just one of those little HCG tests. I don't even know where it is now. But even like looking at it in the picture, like it is the faintest line. So then I took one of these digital ones. Which one says? So I took this one. Obviously it doesn't say pregnant now. But technically I was 11 days post-op ovulation. So I was like, oh shit. So then I took some more clear blue ones because I was like, given these ones now are kind of like all kind of gross. So I'm not really going to show anything, but the pictures kind of show it. Took some of the, this one kind of still, you can still kind of see it. And then I had one clear blue that said not pregnant. And that kind of pissed me off. So I literally went and Googled like why a clear blue could be negative or whatever when you've had positive ones. And I literally took it apart to find the dye strip. And that clearly says pregnant. So who the heck knows? So I was like, well, crap. I am pregnuto. Yeah, and then this was the night of the 9th. I don't know if you can see it in this light. Yeah, there you go. So I was pregnant. One of Patrick's friends was here, with me that morning. So I was on the phone with my mom while I was taking these tests. So that was a special moment, because my mom was with me while I was taking them, and the only thing I had was that one digital, like, left. So I'm crying, she's crying, and immediately I'm like, fuck. Like, every plan I had in my mind was gone. Everything. So I called Patrick and was like, literally FaceTiming him while he was driving in the car, which is probably not advised. But I'm like, hey, yo, it says pregnant. And he was like, what the fuck? Yeah, so I was like freaking out. Freaking out pregnant. Literally freaking out. So me and Patrick's friend go pick up more pregnancy tests. I pee on a lot of pregnancy tests at this point. And all of them say positive. I brought more clear blue. I brought more, what do they call these ones? The first response ones. But I bought a whole bunch of more clear blue ones, and they obviously say, hey, yo, you pregos. So, and I only tested up to DPO 13 and 14. And then after that, we had a major snowstorm that kind of came through Texas. It was kind of hellacious. So, or no. Yeah, so we found out we were pregnant February 9th. So I took a whole bunch more tests between then and the snow time. Literally just enjoying seeing it say pregnant. Oh, my mom obviously was on the phone. I had already called Patrick and told him I was pregnant. Our friend Ryan was here, and he was the one who went with me to the grocery store to go get more pregnancy tests. Well, if anybody has the app, Life 360, my auntie, who I love dearly, has it. So she had already kind of questioned me, being like, hey, why'd you, go she asked me why did I go to Whataburger so early in the morning. And I was like, well, we just had to go pick up some things at Walmart because Walmart was like right behind Whataburger. And she was like, oh, okay. Question mark? And I was like, yeah. But then I think I showed up at her work because like I couldn't keep it a secret. Could not keep it a secret. And basically it kind of told everybody. There's Phoenix. And kind of told them slowly. I showed up at my grandma's work, made her cry. And then my grandma turned around to her boss and was like, hey, yo, I'm retiring now. It was kind of funny. But then, basically for a whole week, the world in Texas shut down due to the ice storm. So that was fun. So was pregnant at home. I had already kind of felt cramping and stuff like that. I took the remainder of the pregnancy test that I had. Patrick thought I was fucking crazy. He thought I was super crazy. I'll post some pictures of the snow and little Fifi in the snow. But, basically I made up a little shirt. I don't even know where it is right now. But, I'll post a picture of me and Patrick, but it just said Baby Michael, October 2021. And so basically we had kind of told most of our family, like immediate family and friends, that we were pregnant at that time. I took a few baby bumps at work, baby like bump pictures, so I'll go ahead and post those. Was finishing up one of my classes and everything else for school and stuff like that. Just kind of living life. Then, made my appointment the day that we found out that we were pregnant. So we found out that we were pregnant February 9th. So called, made the appointment. They wouldn't see me till the 30th of March, the hospital that we were going to go with. That hospital is within 30 minutes from here. It's a place that I did clinicals at, and, it's a place where like I kind of knew what to expect when I went there. So I was kind of like a little discouraged. I don't know if Phoenix is gonna walk around. So many people that had gotten in like earlier and stuff like that. So I was super upset. But I was like, everything's fine. Like I had continued to take pregnancy tests. The line was getting darker. It was stealing from lines and stuff like that. And then finally, after like buying like the 6th pack of pregnancy tests, Patrick told me to stop buying them. Just because he kind of saw my anxiety kind of skyrocketing a little bit. And I was like, well, this is kind of like all I have to make sure that I don't miscarry, Then one night I had a lot of back pain, like lower back pain, and it kind of just felt like somebody's hands were like rubbing on my back, just kind of like this, but they were like hot sauna hands. That's the only way I can explain it. And it was like kind of like pushing my hips out. So I was like, okay, maybe this is, part of the pregnancy, like the growing pains. So I kind of had dealt with it all day. Was just uncomfortable, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sit and take a bath. So sat in the bath, had no bleeding up to this point. Sat in the bath for a little while, was still uncomfortable. And it really wasn't helping me at all, because you can't get a bath very hot, and Patrick 100% made sure the bath didn't get very hot. So I was like, meh, I'm done. So went to go back and lay down. I think it was a Saturday, Yeah, it was a Saturday. I had to go to work. It was a Friday night and into Saturday morning, and I had to go to work on Saturday. So Patrick was out playing video games because he didn't have to go to work on Saturday. And finally at like 2 in the morning, I had just been so uncomfortable. At this point, I already had bought a pregnancy pillow because I was uncomfortable since the start of this. I.e., we'll get to that. So I was just like, meh. Got up and went to the bathroom, and Patrick was sitting in the living room because his computer wasn't in here just yet. And I kind of screamed out because the water in the toilet bowl was red. What I wiped was red. So immediately my thought was, I'm miscarrying. Like, this is a miscarriage. We need to go to the hospital. So made our way to the ER. Given the only time I've ever been in this ER is when Patrick had his motorcycle wreck. So that's already going through my brain. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. So we get there at like 3 a.m. And Patrick's like, I've been up for like 24 hours at this point. He was exhausted. So he's like kind of like laying up against the thing. And when you go to the ER, they can't, when they do your ultrasound, which given I got probed, because I was only 8 weeks pregnant. They probed me, and I was only 8 or 7 weeks pregnant, something like that. I was still in the first trimester, still in the danger zone, or whatever I want to call you. The ultrasound tech really can't say anything or talk to you or tell you what they're looking at or anything like that. So we're laying there for a few hours, and we get to laying there, and she comes in, they do lab work, they give me a bag of fluid, kind of do the whole little workup thing, make sure my HCG's okay, how high is it, everything else. So they do that, the lady comes in, there was a trauma that had come in, and I obviously I work in this county, and I have worked in this county ever since I've been a nurse, so I know a lot of people there. Actually, one of my coworkers at the college works there too, so he kind of trickled his way down from his office and kind of came in and said, hey, yo, what's going on? And I said, well, I don't know, I think maybe I'm miscarrying. And he was like, oh, okay. He's a very religious man and prayed over us and whatnot, and I'm not going to cry about that because this man is one of those very stoic people, and so when he does say gracious and kind words, hit you in the feels. So he left, and we were just kind of sitting there. Patrick was passed out. Well, the doctor comes back in at like 5 a.m. And it's like, well, we kind of find the reason for your bleeding. And I was like, okay. She was like, the babies are okay, but you do have a subchorionic hemorrhage that's actively bleeding. And I was like, what? And this time I'm like smacking Patrick, trying to wake him up in the chair next to me, being, what did you just say? And she was like, yeah, the babies. You have 2 in there. And I'm like, 2? 2. You are, no. Kind of freaked out. And Patrick, of course, like literally goes white in the face. Thank God he was sitting down. The nurses were like, oh, do you need something? And we're kind of like freaking on him a little bit. So at that point in time, March 8th, they put that I was 7 weeks and 1 day pregnant. So when we left there, it was a Saturday. So she was just like, with the subchorionic hemorrhage, there is such a high risk for you to miscarry these babies. She's like, here's what we're going to do. She was like, if your bleeding continues to Monday, she was like, even if it doesn't, Monday, make an appointment with your OB to get in and see them, because I had yet to see them at this point because it was March 8th, or March 7th, 6th, 6th, sorry. I don't even know what day it was. But she was like, by Monday, you need to go and you need to have them see you to at least draw labs to make sure HCG levels are increasing. And she was like, but if you do pass the babies, they're going, she told me how big they were going to be. And she said, basically just kind of grab whatever you can and put them in a bag. And she was like, and you can bring them back up to the hospital and we'll test them, to make sure that there was no genetic reasons that were wrong. And I was like, okay. And she was like, your doctor office is going to tell you the same exact thing and everything like that. So I was like, okay. So, continue to bleed a little bit, but not as much as at one time. After that, basically she said, you can go on bed rest, you cannot go on bed rest. It's up to you. I called my work immediately, before going into work, told them kind of what was going on. And I said, hey, Patrick and I have talked about it, and like, now that it's twins and everything else, like, I really want to take it slow. And thank God I'm in a supervisor position on the weekends, and they were like, totally fine. So do that. Then taking it low and slow. My college stuff isn't very demanding. And everybody there is, very understanding. So, basically went on bed rest till Monday. Modified bed rest, I got up and did things every now and then, but nothing super strenuous, no lifting, no doing anything. Patrick and I just kind of laid in bed and just kind of watched movies and, chit-chatted while we were in bed. My fear of miscarrying was so high. This video is going to be really long, so I apologize. So they called it a sub-centimeter hypotropic areas that adjusted to the gestational sacs, calling it a pre-gestational hemorrhages. So basically saying that the hemorrhage was close to where the babies were. And that's why she said that I had such a high chance of losing the babies. So Monday rolls around, 8 a.m. I'm the first person on the phone calling the OB's office, which, given I have been seen there before by midwives. So same hospital the OB office is connected to. So, I told them that I had gone to the ER on Saturday because I had bleeding. Kind of give the whole spiel and told them what the doctor told me to do, and told them, what it was found out and all that other stuff. And she's like, well, we'll still see you on the 30th. And I was like, what? And like, basically had to fight this lady to get an appointment, which, given this was the 8th at this point, and basically had to fight her to get an appointment for even the 16th of March. So I had kind of called Patrick because he had gone to work, and I said, hey, I don't know. I was like, I need to go see them. Like, I need to make sure they're okay, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know, what to do. We do kind of live like kind of out in the country a little bit, but we do have some cities around us. And he was like, do you want to go? There's a city that's like an hour away from us, like 45 minutes. He was like, do you want to try over there? I have some friends that work at one of the hospitals over there. So I was like, okay. So call some of my friends and I'm like, hey, do you know anybody who, knows anybody over there? So I got some recommendations. So I gave them a call, and basically I called them at like, I got off the phone with them at like 8:30 in the morning, called Patrick, called this place at 10, and basically they said, how soon can you and your husband get here? Like, this is serious. Yeah. How soon can you be here? And I was like, thank the Lord somebody wants to see me. So we went and got to see Patrick got to go in with me, given we also live in Texas. So I want to stress that because Texas obviously is very different. Both Patrick and I are not from Texas. We were both transplant babies here. Me later on in life, but Patrick really early on in life. So throughout COVID, it has been a lot different. Obviously, we live in East Texas, so it's a little bit more country living, I want to say. I mean, there have been people here that have not worn masks this whole time. But that's a whole nother COVID story thing. But Patrick was able to go to me my appointments. He's been to every appointment that I have had. So we went and saw the babies. Got to hear their little heartbeats. Kind of found out baby A does not like camera, does not like anything, does not like us looking at it at all. I'm still saying it at this point because we still don't know what they are. But we did find out that they are separate sacs, separate placentas. So those are di twins. That's what we are thinking they are. We're not sure if they're fraternal or identical because they can still be identical. But we're not 100% sure about that just yet. So we went to that appointment. They did see the hemorrhage, and she kind of talked to us about that and told us everything, you know, that we needed to be worried about. And, you know, if it was going to happen, if the babies were going to stick, they were going to stick. But they had good heart rates. You know, everything was looking great. My bleeding had kind of slowed down at that point. But this doctor's office was so much nicer. I literally cried leaving there. The ultrasound tech was so nice. Especially with Patrick, because Patrick's one to word vomit a lot when he's nervous. So he's word vomited this whole time, every doctor's office appointment. So yeah, that's how we found out we're pregnant with twins. Patrick is still like, every time we go and see them, because basically we've had like 6 or 7 appointments at this point, with 2 different OBs, because we have our regular OB who will deliver them, and then our high risk doctor. And at this point, he's going to let the OB deliver the babies, but that may change. So, but, yeah, that's how I found out I was pregnant with twins. It's so crazy. Like, I still want to cry about it. And like, I'm already feeling them move. So it's so strange. So after this, I'm going to be videoing like a first trimester recap. Basically because I had planned to do like weekly videos, but I was so scared I was going to lose them, and I didn't want to have to look back on it or anything. But now I'm just like at the point where I'm like, you know, if it, whatever happens, happens, you know, this is God's plan. It's not my plan. But it's going to work out either way. So, and I have high hopes for these 2 little ones, because every appointment we've gone to, they're getting bigger and stronger. I'm getting bigger, less strong, I feel. But, so yeah, now I'm finally feeling comfortable, talking on camera at least. But most of our friends and family know now. So it's exciting.